Your thoughts aren't always yours. Some of them are invisible viruses that have been living in your mind for years. Negative thoughts aren't just annoying. They spread, multiply, and block your energy without you even noticing. And they don't stop there. They change how you feel, how you see the world, and even how your body reacts to stress. What if the voice in your head has been hijacked? And what if breaking free has nothing to do with thinking positive, but everything to do with discovering a part of you that exists beyond thought itself? Keep watching, because the real cure comes at the end. Welcome to New Paradigm. You've been infected without even knowing it. Have you ever had a thought that just wouldn't let go? It loops and loops and loops. You tell yourself to stop thinking about it, but it pulls you back, almost like it has a life of its own. Right now, inside you, there are thoughts that don't belong to you. These thoughts are not just negative, they're contagious. Here's the truth. Not all thoughts are created equal. Negative thoughts are different. They're hungry. They multiply. They whisper things like, "You're not good enough," or "What if everything goes wrong?" And the moment you give them attention, they grow. They want to stay. They want to expand. And they don't want you to notice that they've taken over. Think back. Remember a time when you were stuck in a loop of stress, or sadness, or fear. Your body felt tense. Your chest was tight. Maybe your stomach hurt for no reason. That wasn't random. That was the virus working. Negative thoughts don't just sit in your mind. They block your energy. They disrupt the flow of your body. They exhaust you. Even medicine is starting to catch up to this idea. It's not just in your head. It is your head, and your heart, and your nervous system. Now ask yourself, why don't positive thoughts do the same thing? Why don't you get obsessed with thoughts like, "I'm okay," or "Life is beautiful"? Here's why. Positive thoughts don't want control. They're like quiet guides, not pushy salespeople. They don't need attention to survive. They don't demand to be repeated. They show up, offer peace, and then they leave you alone. But negative thoughts, they need you. They feed on your unconsciousness. They want to be you. Where the virus spreads most easily. You want to know where these viruses spread fastest? The internet, social media, comment sections, YouTube rabbit holes, TikTok doom scrolling. It's all a breeding ground. You see a story that feels true. Maybe it's a conspiracy. Maybe it's an outrage. Maybe it's some political madness that makes you feel like the world is falling apart. You click, you watch, you get pulled in. That thought you had, the one that made you click, that wasn't fully yours. You just got infected again. These mental viruses love the online world. They grow in groups, in belief systems, in tribal thinking. They get passed around in conversations, hashtags, and headlines. Sometimes, entire nations catch the same virus. And once they've got you, they color everything. Your judgment, your relationships, your sense of reality. Even if the idea is based on fantasy, once the virus roots itself, it doesn't matter. It's already growing. But don't worry, you're not broken. You're just waking up. What I'm about to tell you next is the real way out. Most people never learn this. This isn't about just thinking positive. That's not enough. The virus will always come back if you stop there. But if you watch to the end, I'll show you something most people never see. How to go beyond thought itself and never be trapped again. So stay with me. The most important shift is just ahead. Why thinking positive is not the cure. Let's be real. Positive thinking is nice. It helps. It makes you feel a bit better. But it doesn't set you free. Positive thoughts are just signs on a road. They point you somewhere. They guide you. But they are not the destination. If you want to break free from the virus completely, you need to go beyond thought. Because even a good thought can become a trap if you cling to it. Freedom isn't about thinking better. It's about seeing thoughts for what they are. Just thoughts. Not facts. Not identities. Not you. You see, mental viruses only survive when you believe them, when you identify with them, when you're unconscious of them. They need you to be asleep. That's how they live. The moment you wake up and become the observer of your mind, something changes. The virus loses power. You start to notice the patterns that used to own you. You start to realize, wow, I've been thinking like this for years, and I didn't even know it. That's the first moment of real freedom. Entering the space beyond thought. This is where the journey gets deep. Once you realize you're not your thoughts, you can begin to explore the space behind them. This space is called presence. Presence isn't a technique. It's a state of being. It's when you're fully in the now. Not in your past. Not in your future. Not in your mental stories. Just here. In this space, thoughts lose their grip. You begin to feel something deeper. Clarity, peace, stillness. And here's the secret. The more time you spend in presence, the less power negative thoughts have. They show up, but they don't stay. They knock, but you don't answer. Because now, there's space between you and them. Presence is like a light. Lets you see your thoughts. And once you can see them, you can choose. Gratitude. The secret companion of presence. There's something beautiful that starts to happen when you live in presence. You begin to feel gratitude. Not the kind where you make a list just to be more positive. I'm talking about real, deep appreciation. The kind that sneaks up on you when you're looking at sunlight through water bubbles, or hearing birds in the morning, or watching your own breath. You don't say thank you out loud. You feel it, naturally. Gratitude becomes a side effect of presence. It's not a goal, it's not a trick, it's a result. And it makes the mental virus even weaker. Because now, your attention is on life itself, not the stories in your head. This kind of gratitude changes your perception. It transforms everything around you into something sacred. Something worth noticing. Something alive. The moment of awakening. Some people wake up all at once. Others slowly realize over time that something inside them has changed. What you're doing right now, watching this, noticing your thoughts, asking deeper questions, that is awakening. That's how it starts. You begin to see how your mind has shaped your life, and how much of that shaping came from unconscious thought patterns. Not truth, not reality, just repeated thoughts that became habits. And now, you're starting to break those habits, not by fighting the thoughts, but by observing them, by stepping back, by choosing presence instead of unconscious reaction. That's the real shift. And this is the part I told you to wait for. Remember earlier, when I said most people never learn how to really break free? This is it. This is the shift. The moment everything starts to make sense. Because once you understand this, the virus loses its grip for good. The invisible virus loses its power. Here's what's wild. The moment you become present, the virus has nowhere to live. It can't survive in the light of awareness. It needs your unconscious attention to stay alive. But now, you've seen it. You've named it. You've felt its effects. And you've learned how to pull the plug. From here, your life starts to change. Not because you're forcing yourself to think happy thoughts, but because you're noticing everything more clearly. You'll start to choose thoughts that lift you, but you won't cling to them. You'll experience life directly, without filters, and you'll discover something amazing. That the real you was never the thoughts at all. It was the presence behind them, the observer, the space, the freedom, and the virus. It's fading already. All right, if you made it this far, you're not just scrolling for answers. You're waking up. You're starting to notice the space behind your thoughts. And that changes everything. But here's something to sit with. What's one recurring thought that's been living rent-free in your mind for years? And what do you think it's been feeding off? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to read what's coming up for you. And if this hit home, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel. New Paradigm. Give the video a like if it helped you in any way. And ring that bell icon so you don't miss the next shift in awareness. We're just getting started. See you in the next one.